Good afternoon, gang. Okay, I'm gonna do one of these videos again. The first one was probably 6 months old, so I figured I'll introduce myself for new followers, new subscribers, people that are starting to watch my videos now, but I've not found that first video that I did about myself. Who is Chris, right? So Chris, you can guess by my accent, is not coming from Texas, although I lived in Texas for 10 years, over 10 years, in Houston and Dallas. I prefer Dallas way more than Houston, no offense to anybody. But yeah, I do come from France. I've been in this country now over 31 years, so it has been quite some time. And I started to be a process server in LA. A lot of miles, a lot of driving. I was bringing summons to insurance companies that were sued by their owner for, they should have replaced the house and they just patched the concrete foundation, that kind of stuff after the earthquake in Northridge. But then one day my wife at the time says, "Oh, I want an Audi TT." And I'm like, "Hey, I mean, you have your own money, you have your own job, you want an Audi TT, go for it." But I know me coming from France, Audi are for rich people, and her and I at the time were just middle class, not rich, so I didn't really see how that was possible. But it happened. It happened, and we got a 2002 TT Roadster 225, a six-speed quattro, great little car. I just couldn't believe that I had an Audi. And from there, going at the dealer a few times, talking to salespeople, bugging them, which now as a sales coach, I realize, yeah, there is that guy, right? That just bother a sales guy once or twice a month for half an hour, wasting his time, doesn't buy anything, guilty as charged. But one day I was talking to the used car manager, and he's like, "Man, you know so much about this Audi product. Would you like to sell?" And I knew how to sell. I had a store in France, motorcycle store. And so I was like, well, I mean, it's going to be driving 8-10 hours a day in the LA traffic. The house is about 2 miles from the dealer. So yes. And so I met the GM, which is said yes. And I started pretty much right away. And I started in Woodland Hills. I won't say the name of that store because it was really shitty owners, but it was in Woodland Hills and it was in a trailer. So no showroom. And if you're familiar with the San Fernando Valley, north of Los Angeles, during summer, it gets pretty toasty. And we didn't have a showroom. And the early 2000s, I can tell you also that Audis didn't sell very well. We had the TT, which was cool, right? And then we had the A6, that had a transmission problem. We had the A8. Nobody wanted one. Everybody wanted a Benz S-Class or Lexus LS. Engineers will buy an A8, but really that was that. And we had the A4, and there was the B6 platform. So we have the S4 V8, and so that was cool. We had the S4 Cabriolet V8, that was really cool. And so those were good cars, but Audi was kind of like the unknown luxury brand, right? But I managed to sell quite a few cars, and did pretty well. And then things starting to get going for Audi, right? 2006, we got the Q7. Finally, an SUV. Whew, it was about time. So we got the Q7 with the 3.6 and the 4.2 engines. And of course, the 3.6 was a dog, but it was doing the trick, and it was a 7 passenger. So that was great. Everybody was happy with that. And then, let's see, after that, we got the RS4. So that was like, ooh. And then that followed with the V8, the Audi R8 V8, and that was great. And then we got the Q5, and at that point, Audi started to like kind of take off a little bit. But by the time the B8, A4, and the Q5 came out, I had transitioned from being in sales at an Audi store to a sales trainer for Audi of America. And I started at the Western region, and boy, oh boy, the definition of the Western region by Audi of America at the time was pretty much from the Dakotas to Alaska to Hawaii to New Mexico around, and everything was the half west of the country without Texas, pretty much. Suffice to say, I flew a lot of United, and I made 1K with United pretty fast. That was pretty easy. And so, yeah, by that time I've had, so we had the TT, I traded with the Dodge Ram, I traded it for an Audi Allroad, and then I traded the TT for Q7, and then I started to work for Audi. And so today, in 2025, I have had countless Audis. If I count my factory car, my manufacturer's car, for 7 years, and then driving Audi since 2003. I don't know, 20 plus probably. I never really counted them, but probably over 20 Audis. And I have an Audi B8 S4. Of course, it's not stock because it's quasi impossible to find an Audi S4 B8 that's stock in this day and age. And some work was done before I bought it, and I've been doing more and more and more. So anyway, that's a different story. So I worked for Audi as a trainer for 7 years, in sales processes, product competition, customer experience processes, onboarding, launch of new cars like the A4 B8 platform. That was my first launch as a trainer. And so on and so forth until 2015, after we had a new manager that thought she could reinvent the wheel. One of my colleagues, she left right away at the beginning of the year. Then another one left, and I left, and then all the old core trainers left, and after that, the academy would never be what it was, to a point where it doesn't exist anymore. Each region is pretty much in charge of its own group of trainers, which is whatever. I'm not here to talk about that. And so that was that for the Audi journey. It was, I don't know, 13 and a half years, something like that. And it was a lot of fun, no regrets at all. And from there, I needed a job. And when I turned 50, I was a trainer. My wife of now and my wife of then is also a trainer for another German car company. And so basically, I promised myself when I would turn 50 that I would have a boat. And I'm blessed that I had married a woman that goes along with my crazies. And so she said, yes, sure, let's go buy a boat. And so we bought a 2002, so that's 2015. We bought an old, obviously, 2002 Chaparral 350 Signature. And I ended up leaving Audi, and I ended up working as a rigging manager at a store that was literally 8 minutes of a walk to get there from our townhome. So that was great. And of course, to maintain the boat. And so we did so much work on that 2002 Chaparral that it was better in 2015. So I sold it in 2019. So 4.5 years after buying it in 2015, that Chaparral 350 Signature was better than when it left the factory. In 2002, we had separate stereo sound system, one for the cockpit, one for the cabin. We had replaced the fridge. I had replaced the little tube TV when we bought that Chaparral in New Orleans at Bent Marine. And if you're in the area of New Orleans and you're looking for a boat, just please go see Greg Bent at Bent Marine. So anyway, if you are in the New Orleans area, you need a boat, go buy it from Greg at Bent Marine. Great people. And so we bought this thing, we sailed it back to Seabrook. That was a 3-day adventure, like you have no idea. That's a story for later. But then anyway, so by 2019 and some month, when we sold it, that thing had been, redone, custom work on the canvas, custom work on the SunPad, custom install TV. I did most of the TV rigging, TV stuff. That 35-foot boat, that 4 TV, it had a big TV on the aft wall. It had a small TV on the arm with the Xbox for the guest cabin, which is also a settee area. Of course, there was a TV in the main guest room, in the master, at the bar, and then a TV that I had installed on the drawer that I had fabricated for the galley. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. But that was great. and so we sold it 4.5 years later for more money than we had paid, and way more money than what we owed. So we made bingo on that boat. And then we went on to sell the townhome, rent an apartment, buy a 4460 Regal, so almost 10 foot longer, because there's that disease that boaters have. It's called the 10-foot itis. It's always 10 feet too short, and I need something 10 feet longer. So we were affected by that. And right before COVID, we actually ended up starting to live on it, because we were always on the boat at the marina. It's a beautiful marina, 2 pool, fancy restaurant, and the whole shebang. So we live on the boat, and then we realized after COVID hit that once my wife started not traveling, that the 2 of us and the 2 dogs on that 44 feet, that was too small. There goes another hit from the 10-foot itis disease. And so we went to buy a 48 feet Targa 47 Fairline, absolutely amazing boat of my dream. Fairline. When I grew up in France, I would see the Fairlines and Sunseeker at the ports in south of France. To me, that was a dream come true. And we had intention to live on it, of course, because it was bigger and much easier. Big cockpit, big cockpit. My wife ended up being transferred to Atlanta. And so from Seabrook, we went to Atlanta, and there, by the time we had bought the 48, sold the 44, which we made money on, luckily, because again, in 8 months, we had that 44. I had done everything that could be done on it. We ended up kind of being a little broke, and so because boat transportation cost a lot of money from Destin to Atlanta, so we put it on Lake Lanier, and we lived on it for 2 years. I started there in the boat industry, same company that I was working for in Seabrook, but it was just not what I was looking for, and not the promise that were made to me. And I won't say any names. And so I went back to work in the car industry as a service advisor, manager, shop manager in a performance shop, which sadly has closed since I left in 22, but it was awesome. It was literally going to work for Cars and Coffee every morning. We had Evo 6s, Evo 7, Supras coming from Japan, R32s coming from Japan, you name it. We had it was Cars and Coffee every day. That was awesome. I really thought I was going to retire there. I'm like, hey, I have 10 years roughly to put in. I'd gladly put it there. And then unfortunately, my wife got promoted again. And so we moved right back to Texas. And I went back to what I was doing for Audi. So I went back to be a performance coach, a sales trainer for SmartPath and Monogram, which is Toyota Lexus digital retail tool. Absolutely awesome. I'm a big enthusiast of digital retail and AI. And any store that does not employ digital retail and AI is behind, and will be behind forever at that point, because you have wasted too much time. So I did that until the company got bought out and they did a round of layoff. And because I lived in Texas and was covering the West Coast from Tacoma to San Diego, obviously my travel expenses were a little high. So I got the boot, got severance package, took a couple of months of vacation. And then I found a job, same thing, but for a local company in the DFW area with less travel, which was great. I went from 75% travel to 25%, but then I realized I was at a desk all the time, and I didn't like that because I'm used to do my own schedule, blah, 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 book my trips and all that stuff. So that was too much of a change. So I left. I went to work for a friend. We're not friends anymore. Actually, the guy and his brother are kind of like not nice, I guess I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it simple and easy and nice. They are not nice. They are not nice people. They pretend to be, but they are not. And if you look at the turnover that they have at each of their location, you can tell they are not nice people. So anyway, and then my wife got promoted again, and we moved to Orange County. And so when that happened, after I had left those two guys, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then I decided to give it a try and be a content creator and start doing those videos. So that was in April. And so what am I offering? Well, I want to offer coaching. Okay. I don't want to do classes. The methodology and the media is outdated. We're in 2025, you have digital retail, you have so much going on at the store. To take 10 salespeople out of 15 or 20 and put them in a classroom for an hour, 2 hours, trying to teach them something, it doesn't work anymore. I think they are too distracted with the phone, the tablet. They just don't really pay attention. And if you run a dealership, if you're a dealer principal, or if you're GM and you're watching this, I can tell you, if you're spending money on a classroom, you are wasting your money, and you're losing productivity on the showroom floor because you have half your sales force that's in class. And they are not even paying attention, they are distracted. So you're losing profitability and production, and you're wasting the money you paid whoever is that trainer to come to your dealer, okay? For a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever they charge you, you just wasted your money, okay? And then I'm not gonna do online courses, at least for now. There are a gazillion online courses on sales processes and performing better in sales and becoming a top closer and all that stuff. 80% of people that take courses online don't finish it unless there is a price of some sort. There is some kind of spiff from the dealer. If you finish all your courses within 30 days, I'll give you a $200 spiff or whatever. But not every dealer can do that or want to do that. And if it's like a, doozy certification, that's not going to do anything but say, hey, look, I have a diploma, I finished the course of so-and-so trainer. Who cares? Right? So that's a waste of money. That's a waste of money. What I can do is offer one-on-one coaching. So this is less disruptive, right? I work with the sales consultant at his desk, with a guest, without a guest, doesn't matter, but we will evaluate his sales process, and then I'll propose where corrections and improvement need to be made, and we'll test it live with a customer, hopefully. And if it's better, which it should be, because I'm pretty confident about what I do and what I can offer, then everybody's happy. Okay, so one-on-one performance coaching, that's the solution. And if you don't ask me to come visit your store and do it for you, if you find any other trainer that actually offers one-on-one coaching instead of a classroom or online classes, that's the guy. Because this is how it works. and this is the best way of doing it. All right. So this is that, and I live here now in Orange County, California, which is kind of like a return to the kind of full circle, right? Coming back to Cali, but not in the Valley. Now I'm in Orange County. I feel like, I'm in Orange County now. If you know the difference between the San Fernando Valley and Orange County in the Los Angeles and SoCal area, you know what I mean, and you'll understand. Okay, so that was it. That's me. That's Chris. It's kind of my quick story. I guess 30 minutes altogether or more. No, it's not so quick, but anyway, if you are interested, please send me an email, Sales Talk with Chris. Leave a comment in the comment below, of course, and please give me a follow, give me a like, so that I can grow my audience and to touch more people. All right, this is Friday afternoon. I wish you all a happy selling for this weekend. You all have a good one.